It was a typical Tuesday night, and I was driving for rideshare. I pulled up to the curb, and a couple got in. The woman looked familiar, but I couldn't quite place her. She sat in the back, next to a man. He seemed a bit too close, a bit too possessive, putting his arm around her shoulder in a way that looked more like a claim than affection. As I drove, I glanced in the rearview mirror. The woman caught my eye, and that's when it hit me. Sarah from accounting. We'd worked on a project together a few months back. We had exchanged a few pleasantries, but nothing beyond that. Still, I remembered her smile, her bright eyes. Now, those eyes seemed dimmed. The man, who hadn't introduced himself, was doing all the talking, mostly about his job, some high-powered executive position. Sarah barely said a word, just nodding occasionally. There was something about her body language that felt off. Tense. Uncomfortable. I started to feel uneasy. Was I imagining things? Was I just projecting my own anxieties onto the situation? But the feeling persisted. I remembered a conversation I overheard in the break room once about Sarah possibly going through a tough breakup. Was this the new guy? If so, he certainly wasn't winning any points. We approached their destination, a fancy restaurant downtown. As I pulled over, the man started to get out. Sarah hesitated. She looked at me. A flicker of something in her eyes. Was it fear? Was it a plea? He reached back and pulled her out of the car, a little too firmly. "Come on, honey," he said, his voice a bit too loud. "They're waiting for us." She gave me one last look, a quick, almost imperceptible shake of her head, before he steered her towards the restaurant. I watched them go, a knot forming in my stomach. I drove away, replaying the scene in my head. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Should I have said something? Should I have done something? I wrestled with the thought. Maybe I was overreacting. Maybe they were just having a bad night. But what if I wasn't? What if she needed help? The thought gnawed at me. I decided I couldn't just let it go. The next day at work, I found Sarah in the break room during lunch. "Hey, Sarah," I said, trying to sound casual. "How was dinner last night?" She hesitated for a moment, her eyes darting around the room. Then she forced a smile. "It was fine," she said. "Just fine." I decided to be direct. "I don't mean to pry, but are you okay? You seemed a little uncomfortable last night." Her eyes widened slightly. She looked down at her hands, twisting them in her lap. "It's complicated," she said softly. "He's intense. I just met him. Things are moving fast." I nodded, trying to convey understanding without judgment. "Just be careful, Sarah," I said. "If you ever need anything at all, please don't hesitate to ask." She looked up at me, a hint of gratitude in her eyes. "Thank you," she said. "I appreciate that." I left the break room, still feeling uneasy. I had done what I could, but I knew this might not be the end of the story. What was this man doing to her? Was this a toxic relationship that might become dangerous? Was there any way I could have intervened more to prevent what was going to happen? These questions continued to plague my mind, and that's the story of how I found Sarah in my rideshare with him. There are still many unanswered questions, and I wonder what happened to her after that encounter. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more like it, Please like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps me bring these stories to life. And who knows, maybe we'll find out what happened to Sarah in a future video. Keep watching.